Great. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And I really apologize for starting a few minutes late. And we'll call the meeting of the State Allocation Board to order at 4:08. Ms. Jones, will you call the roll?
Yes, I will. Senator Wilk? Senator Leyva?
Here.
Senator Laird?
Here.
Assemblymember O'Donnell? Assemblymember Mays? Assemblymember Bonta?
Here.
Juan Morales?
Here.
Jeremy Smith?
Here.
Ana Lasso?
Present.
Gail Miller?
Here. Great. Thank you, everyone. We have a quorum. Pursuant to SB 189, we are conducting this meeting by way of Zoom and also from room 4221 at 707 3rd Street in West Sac for anyone that wants to provide public comment in person. In order for a meeting to run efficiently, we all certainly miss seeing you in person, but you should be muted during the Zoom meeting. And if you want to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature, which is under, it's not under the same chat. What's it under, Michael? When you're on a webinar, it's just on the bottom of the screen. But please find the raise hand feature or just unmute yourself and we will definitely find you to talk. Mr. Watanabe will promote you to speaker. And if you're not using the Zoom app or not present, unfortunately, you will not be able to provide a public comment. So first, we will review the minutes from June 22nd, 2022. I will move approval. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, any public comments on the minutes? Seeing none, is there a second for approval of the minutes?
Wilk, seconds.
Senator Wilk seconds. Ms. Jones, will you take the roll on the minutes?
Yes, I will. Senator Wilk?
Aye.
Senator Leyva?
Aye.
Senator Laird?
Aye.
Assemblymember Bonta?
Aye.
Juan Morales?
Aye.
Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Gail Miller?
Aye, the minutes are approved. And next we will move to the executive officer statement, please. Ms. Silverman.
This is like a marathon executive officer statement, I gotta admit. We got several things we wanted to highlight, and all of them are really important. So let's just say I'll take a few minutes of your time. We wanted to share with the board that during COVID, back in March of 2020, there was an executive order that was put in place in 25-20, and that provided the state of emergency. Well, that state of emergency was declared, and then we had a number of program deadlines that we had to deal with. As to that extent, we actually have a regulation now that was put in place as a result, and that provided the executive officer the authority when the governor does declare a declared emergency that we can actually work and with our constituents to extend those deadlines. And so when that is the case, then we will notify the board of those extensions due to an emergency. And so with the following executive order in 11-22 that did expire on June 30th of 2022, we wanted to share with our constituents, our districts, that we will no longer accept COVID-19 extensions effective August 25th of this year, 2022, but we will continue to accept and review extension requests on an ongoing basis in the case of the emergencies are declared by the governor, such as wildfire or other natural disasters. So any districts that have impacts and they need an extension of time due to those governor declared emergencies, we are happy to take your extension. So it's the same format as you have been submitting those COVID extension requests. So you can send those electronically to our office. And any other program extension requests, just you need a week of time, please contact our staff and we'd be happy to work out those details with you. The next announcement we wanted to highlight is the piggyback contracts. We had a discussion at our last board meeting in June 22nd of 2022. And with the board took action and also adopted some changes and policy. So there is a grace period that was adopted by the board. So any contracts signed on or before within the 60 days of that board action through August 21st of 2022 will be allowed to piggyback as it relates to modular school facilities. Any contracts let after that date, again, there'll be a new process in place. We will continue to process applications, but we will also verify that the contracts aren't violating that grace period. And so any contracts let after August 21st of 2022, we will verify that there wasn't piggyback contracts let for modular facilities. So an extra step to ensure that we are in compliance. And again, we had also notified our stakeholders. We also dedicated a whole web page to the compliance of the information and sharing information. And again, our goal is to ensure that everyone complies with that grace period. And again, we'll be also highlighting to having those program checks as we process the applications and also prior to fund release. We will be working with the State Controller's Office as well to update the audit guidelines for the appendixes B and C. So again, we did provide a lot of notification over the recent weeks since our last meeting. And again, we just want to ensure that everyone's in compliance with the new action that the board took place and adopted. Great news related to the budget highlights. We also like to highlight this every year in August. And so the great news is as a result of AB 181 that was signed by Governor Newsom on June 30th of 2022, there's additional program monies related to the California preschool and transitional kindergarten and the full day kindergarten program. So the good news is we have $100 million actually provided to us as a result of the general fund in the current 22-23 budget year. So that's great news. There also is a change to add, community college districts that could apply for the program as well, as long as they operate a preschool program on behalf or in lieu of a school district or county office of education. So that's great news for those community colleges. Will have the ability to actually apply for program funds. And then the added bonus for this program, there is $550 million that will be also dedicated for the 23-24 fiscal year as well. So looking forward to bring those changes forward, a regulation package, and again, providing some opportunities for the board to expand the next filing round to introduce that additional $100 million. So we'll be bringing some items, look forward to that in the next few months. Another highlight we wanted to share with the board, there was also an appropriation of $250 million for Linwood Unified School District. And then it's really to address the reconstruction and rehabilitation of Linwood High School. They did have a roof collapse and substantial buildings that need to be rehabbed consequently. So we'll be working with Linwood closely. And so that's actually specified in the language, the bill language, that will provide them assistance. They will have to submit normal construction costs to our program, and then also have a grant agreement also associated with those program funds, and also an audit component as well. The other item we wanted to highlight is more news related to general fund monies being allocated to the program. There's over $4.2 billion of general fund monies that will be spread out over the next several years. So it's good news. In the current year, $1.3 billion will be allocated. And again, this provides us an opportunity to continue as we expand our bond authority in Proposition 51. This will allow us to continue processing applications that we have. And again, this is great news for the program. So this will be allocated to new construction and modernization projects. And then on the out year, over $2 billion will be also allocated, or at least committed, for the 23-24 budget year, and $875 million also committed to the 24-25 budget year. And then we will still process the applications based on our capabilities. So we definitely will have no problem hitting those benchmarks. So we look forward to continue to support our school districts as we continue to fund applications that we have in-house. And just to highlight, I know we were slated to bring an item moving forward at this month's board meeting related to the direct apportionment and those particular funds that we received as a result of the general budget itself. So we will actually have some feedback from our stakeholders. And so we're looking forward to bringing that additional item, bringing forward to September. And again, it's a direct the streamlining and processing of those general funds as a direct apportionment. So again, we got some great feedback. So we definitely want to have more time to address our stakeholders. And then we're almost wrapped up. So we have the Career Tech Education closeout of the final filing round for funding cycle 6. And we wanted to highlight to the board that in September of 2020, there was 178 applications that did receive funding for $287 million. And the board kept the round open until June 30th of 2022. And then any residual funds that came back through the Career Tech Education Program as a result of rescissions or monies being paid back, because there is a loan component, that we can continue processing those grant applications that came in the House. So we actually processed 10 additional grant applications during that time period from October of 2020 to June 30th of 2022. And so now that we're past June 30th, we actually had to return those unprocessed applications since we don't have additional bond authority for that program. And then the last thing I want to share is just to give you an update on the apportionments that the board provided in April. There was over $652 million that the board did apportion for projects as a result of the bond sale. Well, the districts had until July 27th to actually provide us the paperwork, the fund release request, so we can process those funds to give them the cash. So there was over nearly $621 million that was actually given to districts. So that's great news. So over 95% of the cash should go out. So again, speaks volumes to the process. And then the next thing is, hey, we're in Zoom. And so we will continue until July 1st of next year to be hosting our meetings via Zoom. And so looking for much success moving forward. So our next meeting will be actually September 28th at 2:00. And that wraps it up. Any questions?
Thank you. That was definitely a marathon. Any questions?
I know.
Any questions, public comment? No? Great, thank you. Just making sure, I feel like I'm out of practice. No raised hands, right? Oh, Mr. Hareen? You got it, Mr. Watanabe? Mr. Hareen, you want to unmute yourself? Hi, can you state your name for the record?
Sure. Seth Taryn, San Jacinto Unified. Thank you, Chair Miller, and good afternoon, board members. I think you're about to go to the consent agenda, so I just wanted to quickly jump in, thank the staff and acknowledge their work for the facilitation of our project with regard to our middle school. Also wanted to thank the board.
Mr. Heron, is there any way, I'm so excited you're here. Stay on the line.
Okay.
Let us go to the consent agenda and then I'll call on you
sure.
immediately for public comment when we're on that item, if that's okay.
No
with
problem.
you. Great, thank you. Really appreciate you being here. So with that, why don't we quickly move Ms. Silverman to the consent agenda? And I'm just noting that San Bernardino Unified, the item on pages 110 and 111 has been withdrawn. So with that, Ms. Silverman, any comments on the consent agenda?
Consent agenda is ready for your approval.
Great. Any questions from the board? Okay, Mr. Heron, it's all to you, the superintendent of San Jacinto Unified School District.
Assistant Superintendent. And my apologies.
Sorry, I gave you a promotion.
That's okay. My apologies for my apologies for getting too excited there. Anyway, I just wanted to again thank the staff for their facilitation, acknowledge their work on our project, and also appreciate their position on our appeal. Wanted to thank the board for the consideration of the appeal and also for the approval of the grace period that Ms. Silverman alluded to earlier in her comments. Our middle school was a 10-year dream for our community, and it's a great source of pride. If any board members or staff members are out our way, we'd love to take you on a tour. Just appreciate all the help and support from the staff and from the board. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for taking the time. And again, I say this every time, but like I work with a lot of teams and OPSC is really phenomenal in terms of your willingness to help and get folks through. And you really make this pretty rough world a much better place. So thank you. And thank you, Mr. Heron, for joining us to let us know. So with that, I will move the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Leyva. Any other questions, comments, public comment? Please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, Ms. Jones, will you take the roll, please?
Certainly. Senator Wilk,
Aye.
Senator Leyva,
Aye.
Senator Laird,
Aye.
Assemblymember O'Donnell,
Aye.
Assemblymember Bonta,
Aye.
Juan Morales,
Aye.
Jeremy Smith,
Aye.
Ana Lasso,
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye, the consent agenda passes. Do we have Mr. O'Donnell on the minutes? Ms. Jones?
No, we do not, but we will go back and get his vote unless you want to do it right now. Assemblymember O'Donnell.
Well, sure.
Yes, on the
Just for
minutes?
the minutes, Mr. O'Donnell, thank you.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we're almost through financial reports, Ms. Silverman.
Yeah, I'll make that quick. So on stamp page 134, we just want to highlight the fund releases that I mentioned earlier, that we want to acknowledge that there was nearly $190 million that was released at the end of June. So again, it speaks to the apportionments and the cash that did go out as a result of the spring bond sale. And then the last thing I want to share is on page 136 and 137, it's just the financial reports. And with the consent agenda, the board did approve 71 projects for nearly $170 million. So that's great news. So thank you for approving those consent items on the agenda. So districts can actually proceed with their accessing program cash in the future.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Any public comment on the financial report? Seeing no one? Okay. And then we postponed the amendments to the school facility program. And so our final item today is the 3-month projected workload from Ms. Silverman. Oh, was a board member trying to speak?
Any
Nope. Oh.
questions? Any questions on the workload report?
Seeing none, any public comment on anything not on the agenda? Great, we will see you all in September. Thank you again. I know it's a crazy week in the legislature. Ms. Jones, anything else we need votes on from anyone?
We have everybody's vote. Thank you so much, everybody.
Great, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Apologies again for being late. Take care, bye.
Bye-bye.